Hello, GOA. This is Sophie here, and I'm talking about my fractured fairy tale. And it's the story of Rapunzel and how she developed some unhealthy habits, but eventually turned her life around and found happiness. So once upon a time, there was a girl named Rapunzel with some really, really long hair, and she lived up in this kind of cabin at the top of the tree. And anyway, she looked down upon the land, seeing, all the many people of the land. And one in particular was a prince of which she looked down upon and saw riding his horse, and a prince of which she admired and immediately found very, very attractive. And so she did as best she could to have this prince and have him be her boyfriend, and used her hair, but I guess the prince kind of thought it was annoying, and so he was kind of annoyed with her and didn't want to be with her, whatever the case may be. And so he ended up seeing a princess from another land named Cinderella, who a lot of you probably know. And so immediately Cinderella and the prince started getting along and started dating and whatnot, and went to balls and lived this very lavish life. And Rapunzel was still up in her kind of tree house, whatever you want to call it. And anyway, she was looking at this relationship, and she kind of thought, well, why does the prince not want me? And she kept doubting herself, and then she was having self-esteem issues and kind of assumed that he didn't like her because of the way she looked, and that Cinderella was this really thin, good-looking princess who was always seemed to have it together, and that Rapunzel, had really long hair and to her didn't have the right body shape. So she started developing these bad habits, and would eat up in the treehouse, and then would throw up. And so she developed these really bad habits and became really lonely and insecure, and it was a really bad situation for Rapunzel. But then finally, in the midst of all of this, while Cinderella and the prince were courting, the prince actually realized that it was Rapunzel that he really liked, and she was the nicer gal, and he had always kind of had eyes for her, but got caught up with Cinderella. So anyway, finally the prince broke up with Cinderella and went back to go talk to Rapunzel and kind of explain to her, how much he likes her for who she is, and that he didn't value the way people look as much as she had originally thought. And so anyway, he talked her into kind of rethinking the way she thought about herself, and then increased her self-esteem. And through their conversation, and they began dating, and Rapunzel and the prince, the charming prince, started being together, and from then on she developed healthier habits, and she was more secure in who she was, and Rapunzel lived happily ever after. So there's my story. Thanks, bye.